went to a wedding, which was my brother's, so a close family member.
Yeah.
Decided that I would go on my own that day, assuming that I wouldn't need any help at all, which, you know, in this case I shouldn't do, being, you know, going to a very public place, the town hall. We entered into the car park, which goes up a hill. It's a one-way system, then you come back down a hill. The only disabled bay that they had was as you near the exit, which would have been on the left-hand side. I found it extremely difficult to park in to begin with because, being paraplegic, I have hand controls on my car, and it took me quite a lot of manoeuvring to actually get into the space, because the hill was, you know, sort of quite steep. I then had to do a transfer from the car onto my wheelchair, and again, with it being on a hill, I found that I slipped forward. I had to grab the door and push myself back. Again, you know, if it were on the flat, that wouldn't happen. And looked across to the ticket machine, and it was on its own little island with a curb all the way around it. There was no drop-down curb at all, so I was unable to even get onto that island to purchase a ticket or get close enough to see
if you needed to.
If I needed to. I'd ended up parking quite forward in the space, so I came around to the back of my vehicle and there was no drop-down curb on that part of the parking bay. So then my dad had to help me because I had to then have manual assistance to get up the curb, whereby I lift the front casters up onto the curb, and then my dad had to grab the back of my chair and assist me up. I don't have handles because this is supposed to be, you know, independent and all the rest of it. We went up to the main front door of the building, from where everybody else then arrived. But then, obviously, realising we couldn't get into the building that way because there was no access, we had to sort of go slightly back down the hill and turn to path to sort of come down, lower down at the side of the building.
Okay.
So a member of staff, a lady, came with us. She tried to open the door, couldn't open it. So bearing in mind everybody's now filtering in and making their way, she's like, "I'm ever so sorry." She, you know, very, very polite. It wasn't her fault, you know. She said, "I'm very sorry, but I'm going to have to go back up into the main part of the building and come down and let you open it from the other side." So she had to go off and we had to wait. Then we approached some steps, and they have what's called it's like a standard stair lift for a wheelchair. I got onto it, and she's, you know, sort of pressing some buttons and looking very confused. And she said, "Oh, gosh, I'm ever so sorry, I can't remember how to work it." I had to sort of hop off and ask my mum to go, you know, into where everybody was and get a few of the guys to come out and lift me up the stairs. So I had absolutely no other choice. So because it was kind of so bad, it wasn't just one little thing, which a lot of the time you'll let it go, you know, not to get something so completely perfect, but it wasn't. It was, you know, it was a few things, and that by the end of it, you know, it was all a bit too much, really. And I did get upset. I got, you know, sort of quite emotional later on. And it kind of spoilt it. You know, I'm always going to remember that day and think of the problems that I had. It's an unusual thing to hear, but it made me feel so disabled in a town that I live where I shouldn't. You know, it shouldn't be a problem.